victory is acquired by pulling the pedestal, not by defeating the big pig. And pedestal Keysanity, what Keysanity means is that all of the dungeon's keys are shuffled amongst the item pool, the general item pool. So we may end up finding, for example, Days Cloud is headed up to the uncle. He may be holding the big key to Tower of Terror right now, for all we know. But, yeah. So the keys are all shuffled amongst the item pools, and Pedestal means that in order to win, rather than defeat Ganon, we have to get the 3 pendants to pull the pedestal.
Correct. And it looks like Edium is setting up his glitch to go in to get some money to start off with, which is usually pretty standard in an open seat.
And I apologize, I blinked and I missed what key Days Cloud just picked up. Oh, but I did see
mirror. That's a nice item to get.
Yeah, early mirror is great for South Shore, especially because that's a quick 1 cycle for the dam. And Chad is saying it was the Desert Palace compass. Now, compasses and maps in Keysanity function a little bit differently as well, since they are also in the general item pool. That means that the compasses, what they do is they will give you the number of remaining items or remaining checks that are in a dungeon. For example, if you were to pick up the compass to Thieves Town, it would give you a counter fraction out of 8, 0 out of 8, or 1 out of 8, depending on how many items you picked up, to indicate that there are 8 items or 8 checks in Thieves Town in total, and that's what the compass does. The map will tell you whether that dungeon is a pendant or a crystal, which in Keysanity you do not know right off the bat, so the maps become suddenly a bit important.
Right, and then it could also it also makes talking to Sahashala a lot more important, as well as talking to the bomb vendor, because he'll tell you where the 5-6 crystals are, and Sahashala will also tell you where the green pendant is, which is obviously a must.
Yeah, especially this time around.
Well, we have a key in the library. No idea where that key is good for, if we'll even need it at all.
Indeed. So first check of the front of escape wasn't anything too particularly crazy. It was a hard container. We did get some extra bombs, and Etium finding a very, very convenient bottle of blue goo in the back of the tavern. Now that would mean a very easy sick kid check. Oh, like so.
And he has 50 bucks. Not bad this early in the seat to be getting money, especially you still have a lot of people you have to pay off in your drives around highway.
To answer question, chat, the boomerang, I believe, was in Link's house. It was either in Link's house or in the Sanctuary. It was one of those 2 first off checks.
Well, we have a map to Skull Woods. We won't know what that is until we get Dark World access.
And chat is confirming it was Link's house. Thank you, chat. Now that big key that Days Cloud pick up is always the same.
Ooh, small key to Turtle Rock.
Yeah, there are 4 of those. So yeah, each dungeon small keys are all in the general item pool. So that means there's, for example, there'll always be 1 for Swamp Palace. There's 3 for Ice. 6 for Palace of Darkness. You're going to be seeing a lot of those, probably.
Yes. And then there's 2 for Aga Tower.
Ah, yes, we should point that out. Castle Tower, because the keys are shuffled in the general item pool, those 2 chests could be items.
Right, so all you need to technically get it. Oh, there's a big key to Desert. That's a good thing. And a book. And a small key to Turtle Rock. So
Desert Palace is not
That's an interesting thing to see. What Desert is the seed pointing us that way because it's giving us an early book.
Well, at least it's safe to say Desert Palace isn't boots locked.
Right, exactly.
And Days Cloud did go into Dark Cross, just found a map to Turtle Rock.
Again, we'll have to wait for Dark World access in order to find out if TR is even required.
And now we're looking at the checks in Blind's Hut. We get a second bottle and one of our first of our 6 keys to Palace of Darkness.
And the compass to Swamp.
How ironic, the compass for Swamp and the light world equivalent of Swamp.
There you go. Ooh, my Fisher Price first shield. Which Days will just leave there for all eternity.
Yeah, I wouldn't want a watery shield anyway.
Yeah, it's probably useless.
I don't think we pointed out our tier 1 tree pull for today is bombs, which is quite useful.
Yeah, especially early game.
Nothing doing much in the Lost Woods besides Zora money.
We have Zora money.
Unfortunately, Zora is still not in logic. We're missing either a glove or flippers.
We get gloves, but at least we have money to pay him off.
There's even more Zora money in the Guinness Cave.
More money. Medium looks like he's headed towards Shovel.
Yeah, 100 rupees for a shovel. That's... I don't know how good of a price that is. I mean, I know when you have to trade your item back in Link's Awakening on the Switch, it's like 300 rupees, and ironically, I had the shovel. I chose the shovel for that, so 300 rupees for a shovel, yeah, that was a little expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
Looks like what ETM is doing, it might have been, ETM dug up magic, it looks like.
Looks like Days is heading to Mini Moldorm Cave.
And ETM digs up the one of 3 Ice Palace small keys.
20 bucks. Another small key to Thieves Town. The big key to Skull Woods. Another small key, Swamp Palace, and a Moon Pearl.
That is a pretty good mini Moldorm cave. That means that we don't have to worry about getting to the big chest of Thieves Town, and that Swamp Palace small key in particular means that we do not have to worry about being locked out of any checks of Swamp Palace early.
Right, exactly.
And that the Moon Pearl is one of our 3 pieces of Dark World access. We're still waiting on a glove and a hammer, or 2 gloves. But with that Moon Pearl where it was found, that's a pretty convenient spot to set up a water walk and go do a fake flipper to Pyramid Fairy.
Yeah, and get Zora while you're there, even though he's not technically in logic at this point.
Yeah, that Skull Woods big key, the only thing that really locks is the Skull Woods big chest, so at least it's something you can go and take care of right away once you get to Skull Woods.
Yeah, it's one of those few big keys that can be locked into the key chest in the normal randomizer.
Yeah, Thieves Town as well, that small key can be locked in its big chest normally.
Yeah, and then Swamp Palace is the other. Swamp Palace, Skull Woods, and Thieves Town.
Now I noticed that ETM is checking I believe the stun prize was also 4 bombs, so we have some explosive drops coming out from these enemies this time around.
And actually, I like Days' routing doing it this way first because you can take the water walk all the way to Zora and then go back and get the hobo prize afterward, and then they come right back and do that without having to try to jump back into the water, although most of the runners at this stage are easily able to get back into the water from hobo. Ooh,
yeah.
Sword on Zora Ledge.
Yeah, that's gonna weigh on our... Well, actually, swords... Excuse me a minute. Swords are not as critical in for a pedestal for this particular seed, since it's a ped seed, not a defeat Ganon seed. So we technically don't need Master Sword unless.
Ooh,
was that
there's
another
a
sword on
second
Lake
sword.
Hylia Island?
Ooh, interesting.
So at least we know where our master. So yeah, we just need flippers and Dark World access, and we get both swords. So forget anything we said about sword limitations. Our runner's pretty much converging a little bit here on the under the bridge, but ETM has not gone to get the mirror yet from our dear old uncle.
That's unfortunate.
Now, as Chad points out, there are still some occasions where we might still need a sword. For example, to cut the vines in Skull Woods, to cut the curtain up Castle Tower, or to use a medallion to get into another dungeon. Now we are getting our green pendant intel, and it is in Palace of Darkness. Well, there's our Thieves Town big key.
Oh, GT. One of the more useless maps. Ooh, get a hammer. Nice.
Yeah, finding hammer now, especially, now that we just learned Pod's a pendant, that's pretty significant.
And EDM's going to give us a little bit more information as he has the money to pay the big fish. Days did not have the money to pay him when he was up that way.
Indeed, and with that big key to Thieves Town and the hammer, Thieves Town is now full clearable. Once we get Dark World access, of course.
And you definitely cannot tell by the music of a dungeon, because that's also randomized.
Yes, that's a bit of a backup to ensure that the runners can't use an audio cue to get that hint.
You definitely want at least you definitely want to check Eastern, even though you don't have the bow. It's an easy dungeon to check, and if it is a pendant, you can easily just go back and clear the boss later.
Yeah, and the other thing about dungeons is that the original item limits do not apply in Keysanity, since the keys and maps and compasses are no longer necessarily in their respective dungeons. So, as a result of that, Eastern Palace now has 6 items, I think.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, it's map, compass, and big
all the
key.
dungeons now have more items, including the escape route, because the map doesn't necessarily have to be there.
Hera big key. Interesting, but we don't have a... Actually, that means we could get to Moldorm once we get to Tower of Hera, which we can't do just yet. We still need at least a glove, and logically a lamp or flute.
Right, exactly.
Although this check, the vanilla big key chest is out of logic without lamp still.
So it's one of those rooms you definitely want to learn if you're ever going to run the randomizer.
Yeah, dark room navigation is not a good time. Especially when it's somewhere like Mire or Pod.
Yeah, Maya or Pod is definitely the harder of them. Maya probably being the hardest dark rooms. Aga Tower probably being first in order of operations. I would go probably Aga then Meyer, but you know that's why these runners are here, and I'm not. 'Cause I'm not. I mean, I'm good with the Eastern dark rooms, just not with some of the others.
Fair enough. Now, thinking about our remaining checks, we have Hammer and Moon Pearl. We know of 2 swords, but we can't get either of them. I'm trying to think about where our gloves might be hiding. We've checked
They
all
could
the
be
village.
Desert.
They're probably in
access with
desert,
book.
yeah. Because, yeah, we can open the front door with a book.
Yep, exactly.
So we can check. The only 2 things we can get for Desert Palace are the item on the desert ledge and the first chest. Unfortunately, the other item is boots locked, and we don't have the small key to get to the right unless we steal one, which we can't because we don't have a glove anyway to get to the back. Answer question chat. Book was in Kakariko Well, I believe.
Yes. So Days should definitely get it on his route through Kakariko. And if you are watching EDM's screen, he is going to Dark Cross at the moment.
Yeah, he'll be picking up his Turtle Rock map there. And Days Cloud voicing immediate displeasure about picking up the shovel from the bottle vendor.
I don't blame him. But it actually gives him really good routing because now he'll grab his book and then he can do shovel and then go straight to desert. So it's not bad routing though.
No, it's not too bad.
Looks like EDM is gonna head over in that direction.
I'm surprised EDM didn't do this with the with the earlier South Shore checks, because he's been through South Shore after to Mini Moldorm Cave after getting the Swamp and Thievestown keys.
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised too.
Although lately I have seen runners wait on this and then go check Agina.
That's actually not a bad idea either, because then you can route it in with Agina and with Desert, especially since they have the book.
Yeah, at this point, the one thing our runners really want to find in Desert is a French vanilla glove right now.
Yeah.
Which ETM's next stop after this is most likely going to be Desert.
Yeah, I would have to agree because there's really not much more he's going to be able to do. And the thought of it that in fact he didn't save and quit right afterward is reason enough to believe that he's going straight to Desert.
Exactly. Are we going to get a ledge check before ETM opens the front door? Yes, we are. There's your glove.
So that kills Aga as far as being able to kill him for Dark World access. However, we don't know what Lumberjack has, and we also don't know what's in Castle Tower. So we still don't know if those parts of Aga are required or not.
No, and I believe the first check in Castle Tower is available with AGA 1 access, but the other one you need at least one Castle Tower small key.
Yes. Yes, you just need a cape to get past the barrier.
Well, at this point, if we find flippers along with Dark World access, we'll have Master Sword anyway, so we won't need that cape.
Right.
Is that a vanilla small key? Oh no, it's a French vanilla small key to desert. Oh, that's funny. So yeah, ETM just picked up the small key to desert, so now these two items are quick, easy checks.
And no small key to GT.
ETM still without a heavy-duty weapon, so is gonna have to, unfortunately, use bomb strats. Except he only has one bomb, so what he's doing is he is, taking a death.
Unfortunately, those BMOSs hurt a lot, and I think they do 100 damage regardless of mail upgrade.
They hurt pretty darn hard in Link to the Past, yeah. But Days Cloud now about to get the very good news that Dark World access is very much right in front of him.
Well, Days is going to have a little bit more of an easier time in Desert as he has Hammer, whereas EDM does not.
I don't think that's close enough. Ooh. Oh,
but he gets a bomb drop.
Right. Yeah, luckily the stun prize is 4 bombs, so he got a lucky break there. I think the stun prize is 4 bombs at least.
Well, there's Bombos. Can't use it without a sword, but at least there's one of the medallions.
It's a good alternate key to get through the front door of Ice Palace as well.
We've also not seen too many heart containers at this.
No, we've only seen... The one that comes to mind immediately is the one in the front of Escape, and there is...
Blue Mal. I'm sure they would want that now since they only have 4 hearts.
Yeah, you want blue mail pretty much as soon as you can. I always prefer mail upgrades sooner. It's much like Spazer and SMZ3. The sooner you get it, the better off you are.
Yes, exactly.
And there's another heart container fill up for Days Cloud after that heart piece. So, Days Cloud is going to get his Dark World access. Now the question is, where do we go from here? I think Thieves Town Skull Woods is probably the next port of call. You can full clear Thieves Town. You can open the big chest of Skull Woods. I feel like the density is over there.
Well, they can also full clear... Oh no, they can't because they don't have a fire source, so they need that to do the back of Desert.
Right. Although ETM is giving us a look at Back of Escape, which gives us Cane of Samaria. And more of that extra heart containers we're missing. Yeah, we don't have any Light World maps yet. Alright, so Daze Cloud is going to give us our lumberjack check here. Oh, or not. He's going to sequence break Death Mountain. I thought for sure that was going to be a lumberjack check.
Yeah, I was about to try to bet on that, but you can get up to Hera, you can get to East Death Mountain, so there's a lot more checks that way, so that's actually not a bad sequence break.
That is true. The only thing locking all of this out is the lamp.
Right, exactly. But now that they have Dark World access, sadly that lamp can be almost anywhere. Alright, so we do have Pod as one of our pendants.
Yeah, once Daze Cloud most likely will do a map check upon entering the Dark World here, because we will be able to get some intel for Skull Woods, Turtle Rock, and I think at least one other Dark World dungeon. 2 keys on Spectacle Rock here.
Well, hopefully one of them will be the Tower of Hera small key. Although that doesn't really help them.
Here we go.
Right, so we have Pendant Turtle Rock.
Oh boy.
Okay.
You know, someone in chat was mentioning we have a lot of Turtle Rock keys. And you know what? Good reason.
Is that the lamp?
No, I believe that is a compass. Or a map.
Oh. I couldn't tell by the text because it said find your way, so I thought it was the lamp.
It said you could find your way home.
Oh, I missed that part. Okay.
Yeah, so we saw Pod TR and we saw Skullwoods as a crystal. That is all we know. We do not have the red pendant information yet. We're still missing that map. Swamp Palace Big Key in the Pantry of Hera. I call this the Pantry. I love the text of that hint tile. But yeah, hint tiles are disabled for the seed. So this does put together a considerable amount of our shopping list we need to complete the game. We're now looking for both rods, possibly a medallion. We have Cane of Samara already, thankfully. We need Titan's Mitts and Lamp, logically. And I think that's about it. I mean, obviously swords to use medallions and whatnot, but
we already know where one of the swords is. Both swords are, so we can easily get Master Sword.
Indeed, and actually, the only thing that's stopping us from both of those is flippers.
Right, exactly.
Now, here's the kicker, though. Since Turtle Rock is a pendant and the Ice Rod only locks out Trinex, there is a very distinct possibility that the Ice Rod could be in Ganon's tower.
Absolutely.
Luckily,
and
the Fire Rod can't be.
It could be 7-7 to get into GT. I don't know if that was randomized for this seed or not. We'll have to wait and see when someone has access to GT. Oh, Trolldorm stays knocked down.
Trolldorm has been exceptionally aggressive in the past couple of days. In the SMZ3 race, he claimed victims like 5 times.
I am not surprised.
Also, I would appreciate it if Moldorm gave a single rupee here so we can even out Daze's ruby count.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool.
Well then.
Well, Now all we need is a light source to do the basement of Hera, and that was a crystal.
Yeah, so one. So yeah, one crystal so far. So we don't know if it's 5-6 or not. We will know when Days Cloud opens up the pause menu.
Oh, I'm willing to almost bet that EDM will speak to the bomb vendor after doing Hype Cave.
Very true. This will give us our crystal, our 5-6 crystal information in case it is not Tower of Hera.
Right,
And even if it is, we'll learn anyway.
Oh, there's our third sword. Well,
That's
Edie
pretty
was
hype.
first, but we now know where all three. We know the three other swords are. There's Titan's Mitts and a Master Sword and a key to Turtle Rock.
That's our last Total Rock key.
Yep. So, Hype Cave really hyped today.
Yeah, that is a like borderline 10 out of 10 hype cave.
Oh yeah. Well, you need Titan's Mitts. You need swords. So yeah, definitely 10 out of 10 there.
So this opens up a couple checks. We can now check Ether and Bombos tablets.
Eastern and Misery Mire are 5-6 today.
Which means that to get those, we are still looking for flute, possibly a medallion, bow, and lamp.
Yes.
Depending on where the Eastern Palace, and not to mention the big keys and all that. We haven't even brought that up yet.
Right. So not only do we need all the small keys to get through the dungeon, you also need all the big keys as well.
Well, luckily with Meyer, you actually only, I think, need its big key.
Right. And just $20 on the pyramid.
So since we have, since we have Titan's Mitts, that does pretty much kill Aga 1 as far as any Dark World access is concerned, and the Pyramid Ledge was also garbage, so...
Well, the only question now is what's on Lumberjack and what is in Aga Tower itself.
True.
Do we need any of those items for completion? But
Getting
yes,
a paradox... You first.
Well, I said we do have total Dark World access without Aga, but we still don't know what's on him. We're on Paradox.
Alright, Dave's picking up his first shield. In the bottom of Paradox, ETM going to Catfish and getting some sticks.
First chest, 10 sticks, another compass to Misery Mire, another heart container. Actually, now Magic Bat is totally in logic as well, with powder.
Ah, yes.
Eastern Palace, compass, and another heart container.
So Paradox Cave and East Death Mountain in general, pretty barren this time around.
What's
Besides
really
powder.
interesting is EDM now has access. He may not want to go in there, but he has access to the rock and has all the keys. So you want to hear it? Discussing the fire rod could very well be on Laser Bridge because he has all.
You are absolutely right. That is, of course, assuming we can even get through the Turtle Rock front door.
Right. Minor technicality.
Although, given that we've gotten so much Turtle Rock progression early, I don't know.
They very well could be bombos. And our progression, our bow, stuff like that could all be easier.
I thought for sure Daze was gonna leave another bomb by the Hype Cave guy. He already frustration slashed a few times. Now, the thing about Turtle Rock, the thing is actually, as Chad points out, we actually can't get to Laser Bridge yet. We're still missing the Turtle Rock Big Key, which could very well be in Turtle Rock, to be fair, but...
It certainly could be, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing about keys, is they can practically be anywhere, so there's really no way to tell who's gonna be able to find them until we find them. There's our third bottle in K45, containing a second B-Torp.
$20 on Stumpy. And 10 more arrows.
Now, to answer the question, Chad, we do not know if all the crystals are needed for GT. We're not sure if this is randomized, if that was randomized for this seed. Chat, Math Girl, our tracker, is informing us that it was not randomized, so it is 7 crystals for GT.
That still could put the fire rod in GT. I mean, Ice Rod.
Yeah, Ice Rod can be in GT, Turtle Rock's medallion could be in GT. That's about it. I think.
I believe you are right, sir.
Although, by process of elimination, our remaining pendants... best case scenario, they want that remaining pendant, I would think, to be Thieves Town.
That would be, yeah, that would be the best one.
Also, ETM checked Lumberjack, and I am about to check my playback to see what that was.
Heart Container, so he won't be going back for that.
Okay,
So now the only question then becomes is what is inside of Aga Tower. They could at least check one of the items if they chose to, but I doubt they're going to go there unless they have absolutely nowhere else to go at this point.
Probably.
And there is Quake. That was on the pedestal in the earlier seed that I commentated on this afternoon.
Oh my.
It was not required, but it was there.
Alright, let's see what Magic Bat has for us.
Oh, there's Slippers. So that gives us access to our other 2 swords.
And I imagine E-Team is probably at least going to get the Lake Hylia sword for Tempered. I can't imagine him going out of his way to get Butter, though.
No, it really doesn't give that much of an upgrade. The upgrade from Master to Tempered is monstrous, but the upgrade from Tempered to Butter is really not enough to go out of your way for.
Yeah, if the last sword was like here in Village of Outcasts or on Bumper Ledge, we'd be singing a different tune probably. Although even Bumper Ledge is a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, especially since I can't get there at the moment.
Alright, both of our runners coming together here on the Village of Outcasts checks.
And they can almost give each other high fives.
ETM and Days Cloud both just got the exact same prices out of the first chest of the chess game.
That is really creepy.
Yeah, that first item is randomized among the chest game's regular pool. The second item is guaranteed to be the reward.
That is so nice that the creators of this decided to do. The digging game and the chess game are the worst as far as getting those two heart pieces if you're trying to get 100%.
Oh, I totally didn't see what that chest was. Okay, it was a big 20. Oh no, that chest was bombs. Okay, the second chest was a big 20. Anywho, we've got both of our runners trudging through Thieves Town, and they both have their small and big keys, so they will be able to go right ahead and check the Thieves Town big chest with no difficulty whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm sure they would both love to see pendants fall from the ceiling so then they know what they need to complete the seed.
I certainly wouldn't mind seeing the pendant at this point anyway, either, especially after last night's SMZ3 race. That one was just a nightmare. So at this point, I would like to actually see some relief to our runners.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they've already given us TR and Pod, which are probably the longest dungeons other than Swamp Palace. So, and require the most items to get into, which one of them is Turtle Rock.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what we could do with our current equipment. We know where flippers are, so ETM could actually full clear Ice Palace. My goodness gracious.
Absolutely. I was like, wait, he doesn't need Fire Rock. He has Bombos.
And we just got the
Well,
Ice
now you at
Palace
least know
map
what-
too, so
Well, yeah, so I'm going to guess he's going to do a map check as soon as he gets out of here.
absolutely. Because yeah, if he finds out ice is a pendant, then he realizes, okay, I literally just need the rods and we're in business.
Exactly.
And possibly ether.
And possibly either.
Not to mention, bow too, and keys. I think for Palace of Darkness, you need, if you're going to go mode pod, I think you need at least 3 small keys in the big key.
Sounds right to me.
Eastern, you just need its big key, or not Eastern. Turtle Rock, we're just missing its big key. And assuming
right
Ice
on board.
Palace, I'm trying to remember the key logic for Ice Palace. I don't think you necessarily need the big key.
Not if you do the bomb jump, you don't.
Right.
Which runners of these calibers, I would be really shocked if they just don't even do that. Oh, we have our first GT, and we have a pendant. So we now know that all we need is our rods and our bow and possibly ether.
That is a very lucky break for both of our runners. So they now already effectively have the knowledge they need. It's just a matter of the items.
Right. Exactly. The problem is the items that they're missing could be in any of the crystal dungeons.
Yeah, I mean, we've said it before and we'll say it again. That ice rod could literally be anywhere, except on Trinex.
Right. Exactly.
So yeah, just to reiterate, the complete shopping list right now is bow, both rods, possibly ether if we need it for TR, lamp by Logic, and Total Rock Big Key, Pod Big Key, as well as at least one more small key, because we know where 2 of them are. And I think that's about it.
Yep. That sounds right to me.
That was also a lot of digs for a vanilla heart piece. At least 23 or 24. Daze Cloud getting a hand getting out of the dungeon. To answer question, chat, Kane of Samaria was in Back of Escape.
Hopefully, Des Cloud realizes he didn't do Back of Escape. Because that would be quite unfortunate.
I feel like considering that he's not done Graveyard Ledge, which has our flippers, I feel like Daze Cloud's gonna head in that direction and maybe think about it anyways. When he does the flanctuary route.
He absolutely could. And that would be a really good play for him.
Something else that would also probably compel Daze Cloud to head in that direction would be Pegasus Boots, because that adds in Bonk Rocks and King's Tomb.
Yep. It certainly is. It certainly would. We haven't found the boots yet, but that would definitely add to it.
So at this point, it really just comes down to who goes where and what do they find. Currently, we can actually get in the front door of Swamp Palace, check the big chest, and do left side swamp. Oh, chat is enlightening me that to go mode pod, it can be done on just one small key.
Chad always keeping us on our toes.
Yeah, admittedly, my Keysanity logic is a lot more rusty compared to, like, conventional dungeon logic.
And if yours is rusty, mine is even rustier than yours at this point.
Alright, Daze Cloud is doing Graveyard Ledge, and this is good news. This will give Daze Cloud their flippers. And hopefully with
he goes
this,
right to the back of Escape and does that routing as well.
ETM trading in the purple lunchbox for the goodies inside.
Oh, the GT small key.
Yeah, we're doing pretty decent on GT small keys. Granted, you know, hopefully we never have to go there, but you never know at this point. Ooh, E-Team giving us a Bombos tablet check while he's in the neighborhood.
And just a piece of heart. And I think if I haven't done my logic incorrect here, I think the only thing that now could be in GT would be the bow. Or, well, no, because you need bow for Eastern. So the only item that could really be there that would be the ice rod.
Ice Rod, and or Ether if it is not needed for Mire.
Right.
As well
So
as
there's two
the,
items left.
as well as the appropriate keys.
Right. Definitely you need the keys.
Oh, and Days Cloud has not done Zora, so this is sort of a bit of a double whammy here. So Days Cloud will be able to get scammed by the fish and pick up the sword.
So he could theoretically he could get, if he goes to the island, he can easily get his fourth sword if he decides to.
Yep, have an explosive, King Zora. I'm pretty sure as Days Cloud threw that bomb, he shouted out, "Yeet!"
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
Now the question becomes, where do we go from here? It looks like ETM might actually be going to Ice Palace after picking up that Tempered Sword.
Oh, he's gonna get the... I was gonna say, is he gonna go get the gold sword? He's heading that direction.
Well, what it is he's trying to get around the bombers. Because, yeah, they are everywhere in that section of the map.
Yes.
And Days didn't get the cane. Oh, boy.
Yeah. That's another one of those items that so many places it could be, and we have the knowledge of where it is, and he just doesn't. But he is going to get his fourth sword, though.
Alright, so as Days Cloud picks up the stick of butter, ETM immediately takes a Death and Ice Palace, most likely for a health refill.
Yeah, definitely.
Alright, Days Cloud's now doing his Pyramid Ledge check, and this, I believe, was rupees or a heart piece. Either way, it was not important.
Without half magic, you definitely want to grab that full magic refill that he just got.
Yeah, now at this point, the only thing ETM cannot check, I believe, is the Ice Palace big chest.
Unless he gets lucky and the big key is in this dungeon.
Could be. But it looks like Days Cloud is going to open the front door to Pod.
Well, he had some keys, so he could dabble in to see if the bow is there.
Yeah, and given that Pod naturally has 6 small keys, it's very possible there could be 1 or 2 inside the dungeon itself.
Yeah, definitely.
Unfortunately, going back to the cane for a second, the only thing I think that'll lure Days Cloud back to Back of Escape is either a memory tick by respawning in Sanctuary, or by Pegasus Boots for Bonk Rocks and King's Tomb.
absolutely right. Yeah, that's just going to be one that he may, unfortunately, be very unfortunate for later. We'll have to see as the race continues, but it is unfortunate.
All right, now Daze is what Daze Cloud is going to do is going to use the potion, one of the blue potions. Oh, there's another pod small key in Ice Palace. With the potion Daze Cloud just drank, it desyncs the camera if you are moving left during the drinking period, and that allows you to move the camera in the mimic room, and the mimics can be moved off screen based on the adjusted camera position. And if the mimics are off screen, as far as the game is concerned, they're not there.
And then the door opens for you. It's very polite.
Ooh, ETM getting the Eastern Palace big key, while Daze Cloud only picking up the Meyer big key out of the Bowlock section of pod. Nice dodge there from Daze Cloud around those hard hat beetles.
This is knowing the key logic especially in pod, is so imperative because, I mean, you could really save yourself a lot of time if you know the key logic in pod and how it works.
Right. For example, in the front of pod, you have to have at least 4 keys. First 4 out of 6 checks have to be keys. Normally. I mean, this is Keysanity, to be fair, so... Another example would be the key for a key in the Harmless Hellway. The Vanilla Big Key chest has another case where that could be a key for a key.
Right, and it doesn't mean that you'll definitely get a key in here either. Oh, there's half magic. That's not bad, especially Nice Palace. Oh, we find Hookshot and then a map of Terror.
Hookshot's a pretty good one because now we can full clear Swamp Palace.
Yep. We're getting closer and closer to being able to clear all the crystal dungeons too.
I would imagine that Swamp is probably next up on Daze Cloud's to-do list, knowing that, since Swamp now has like 10 items in there. Ah, Daze Cloud performing the hammer yump here. Unfortunately, no sign of that pod big key yet, so we cannot check the pod big chest. And there's the ether medallion on Cold Stare.
So we do have all of our medallions now. And there's Fire Rod.
Wow, so GT possibilities are looking pretty slim. Only thing that could be there now, well, actually really the only thing that got taken off the GT shopping list is ether.
Right, so now all that could be there is Ice Rod.
Ice Rod and Pod or Total Rock big keys. So that was actually a fairly loaded, as usual, Pendant Pod.
Pendant Pod and Pendant TR always have something important. They just always do.
And to answer question, chat, Daze Cloud did check the basement. The basement had something important, and we just saw it. Yeah, Hookshot.
Hookshot and Fire Rod.
Yeah, Pod had some pretty good equipment. Dazed Cloud is now going to pick up that key inside Spectacle Rock real quick. I don't remember if we saw this already.
I think we did when Edium went up there. Well, we'll get reminded of it anyway. It is a pod small key.
ETM may have skipped out on a couple of checks in Ice Palace, in the Ice Palace basement. That's the basement they were talking about.
Ah.
And we don't have the Ice Palace big key, too, so there's a couple of checks we can't route in very conveniently.
It's probably one of those things that you're never going back there until you've checked everything else, and hopefully you haven't forgotten to go back there.
You haven't forgotten, and you get the key. Get a small key to go back there. Yeah, ETM didn't pick up that key either, so ETM is going to get that and have 3 pod small keys. ETM hasn't even been to Tower of Hera. And answer question, chat, yes. Once the runner pulls the pedestal, the match is over. Or their time is, they can dot done. Oh, you know what could be, like, absolute worst-case trolling scenario right now? Ice Rod in the second chest of Castle Tower, and both keys being in GT.
Ooh, that would be nasty.
Yeah, that is like an absolute
You're
worst
an
case
evil
scenario.
commentator.
Hey, that's what happens when you let the mind wander. And it is ether for Total Rock. Cold Stare is hard required.
Yes, sirree. Now let's get the ether medallion while we're at it. A map of Misery Mire.
Also, find your way home refers to maps. Now I know.
I definitely missed that part of it the first time when he read it. There's a map of Pod and 10 sticks.
I'm actually kind of surprised that Daze did not go to Swamp, considering that he could full clear it. At the same time, I kind of understand it. It's a case where I get it, but I don't get it, whereas it's 10 items, but it is a long full clear.
And there's a bow.
So now we just need pods full.
So now we can do Eastern once we find the big key.
We can do Eastern, and that's one of our Pyramid Fairy crystals. We're still missing the flute for Meyer, so we don't know where that's hiding.
Hopefully, they never find it.
Alright, looks like Daze Cloud is...
hopefully it's like... Hopefully they are in go mode by the time they find it.
Let's hope. But it looks like Daze Cloud is electing to go back for the item in Hera Basement. An answer question, chat. The bow was in Hookshot Cave.
And with progressive bows, there are 2 of them in the game now. So we'll just have to see where that other bow is. If we find it.
Yeah, luckily, silvers are not going to do us nearly as much good as they would in a conventional seed, since they're not going to make it again and go from a 12 spin or like a 20 spin fight to a 4 skewer fight.
Right, but if we have to go into Misery Mire, it will make a much easier fight in that respect, so...
Oh, yes.
If we have to fight Vitreous for any reason. Not something you want to think about at this point, but if you have to fight him, you definitely want to have silvers if possible.
Indeed. And Days Cloud found the item in Hera Basement was the Thieves Town map. Of course, both the maps we've seen recently are both to the dungeons we already know are pendants. Or to the ones they already pretty much have the means to clear, with the exception of the key issues.
Yep, exactly.
Days Cloud started at Sanctuary, but still
He went
walking
the wrong
away
direction, though.
Spiral Cave containing a Skull Wood small key, one of 3. And I get the sneaking suspicion that Days Cloud might be thinking about going to kill Mothula right now.
He got a fire rod, and he's heading back to Skull Woods. That is a good play for him. Unfortunately, it's not going to give him Kena Samaria, though.
It's not going to be Cane of Samaria, but it might, I mean, you know, God forbid we have to go to GT. It is another crystal struck off the list.
Yes, sir. It would be. And because EDM did not do East Death Mountain yet, he can now full clear Death Mountain, get his bow, and then go to Turtle Rock and investigate it.
Yeah, there's 2 checks in the back here for Days Cloud. Looks like he's electing to go for the chest first and then go for Mothula.
Well, in Keysanity, that makes the most sense. Because there's one of the big keys he needs. There's the pod big key.
This is starting to look like Oops All Dungeons with, just because of where items are.
See, when you think it's going to be a fast seed because it's a pedestal seed, does not necessarily mean that, especially when you have TR as one of them.
Yeah, that means Pod
makes it a longer seed.
And as Chad points out, that means Pod is a double dip. Ooh. Because, yeah, Fire Rod was in the Pod basement, and you can't get there, and you can't get to that big key without Fire Rod. Yeah.
But I think Fire Rod was in where in the lamp lock section of Pod,
It was.
wasn't it? So technically, then it was a triple dip, correct? Because we still don't know where the lamp is.
Yeah, we're still waiting on the lamp, and oof! Days Cloud just took a KO to Mothula. Now, this is going to be interesting on Etium's side. Does he elect to gamble that he can get the Turtle Rock Big Key in the dungeon? Or does he go elsewhere?
Looks like he's going to dip it.
He's going for it. There are a lot of checks in Turtle Rock. 11 out of 12 are available right now. Oh, but he's got no Fire Rod. To be fair, he's got all 4 keys, so he can get to Laser. Well, actually, no big key.
So right, no laser bridge, no big key, unless it's right here.
Yeah, no laser bridge, but there are still a number of checks that can still be done without Fire Rod. He could pretty much get up to Mimic Cave, and that's about it. I think.
Yes. With the keys he has, yes, he can get the Mimic Cave. And check Mimic Cave. Just 10 more arrows. you know, realistically, because we know where Fire Rod is, because we know where Hookshot is, and if both Ice Rod and the Big Key are in TR, EDM's gonna do a double dip for no reason. If the keys work out and TR has its own Big Key and the Ice Rod.
Right, because he's going to have to go back for Fire Rod and Pod.
Exactly. Or worse comes to worse, Lamp is here, which thankfully isn't. But if Lamp was there, then you have to go to Pod to get the Fire Rod to come back here to get other stuff. Like, that's just insane to try to keep all that in your head while you're doing a race.
Yeah, the lamp is kind of the one thing that could really piece this whole logic train together, but we're still looking for it, kind of.
Yeah, well, with the Fire Rod, at least on Days Cloud's side, he doesn't necessarily have to find the lamp if he knows his dark rooms.
Yeah, and because this is version 31, the Fire Rod does act as a logical light source for Dark Cross, the Path to Armos Knights, which, I mean, we know we could do that. That is a logical check we can make now with Bow and Eastern Palace Big Key. Granted, Days Cloud doesn't have that yet, I don't think, but it is a check we could make in logic. Well, in logic if we had the lamp. Alright, this is pretty much ETM's last check in Total Rock, and it is the flute.
Oh, that's the flute. That put Misery Meyer into logic.
That's probably the last thing he wanted to see, because I think that actually puts us in... That puts us in GT Go mode. Well, actually, wait, time out for a second. We still need Meyer's Big Key. We're literally a Meyer Big Key away from GT Go mode. Oh boy.
Alright, folks, strap on your seatbelts. We're going to be here for quite a bit while we look for some other things here.
Alright, meanwhile, Days Cloud is checking out Ice Palace. Has the same key scenario as ETM, so most likely will perform the same move and go probably straight to Cold Stare with the key he has.
That would probably... Yeah. Well, EDM activated his flute, has not used it yet, so he is gonna check magic back. He did not. So he'll check magic back first. And then he will go probably over to Misery Meyer and check Meyer's Shed. Hopefully he'll find his Ice Rod. Well, we do know the Fire Rod is in Pod. Behind the lamp. And that is why learning dark rooms could save you the headache of finding that lamp. Nice bunch of refills there in that spin.
Yeah, that Pen Gator room is a great, that and the room right before Armos Knights in Eastern is a great, like, sort of refill room if the drops play in your favor.
Actually, at the very, very beginning of the game, if you go South Shore first and get a fish and bring it back to the bottle vendor, you get a lot of refills that way too. So, for those who don't know, if you were to start at Link's house, get a sword or something like that, and then grab the fish, take it all the way back to the bottle vendor. He'll give you money and bombs and all kinds of cool things. And ooh, ether also required for Misery Meyer.
Wow, and Ether was, where was Ether again?
Cold Stare, right?
That's right.
Yeah, Cold Stare.
So yeah, Cold Stare, well, it depends on if Meyer has anything, but Cold Stare may be doubly required this time around. Looks like he's fluting away, though, so no interest in dipping Misery Meyer yet. And he's, gotta go to Pod to get the big key, too, so he's gonna have to since Pod is that forced double dip.
Yeah, and as I said, the lamp, since it locks the fire rod, learning those dark rooms, not easy, but learning those dark rooms are so important to not having to find that lamp.
Exactly, but it looks like ETM is going to take a dive into Swamp Palace without Hookshot.
So I wonder. Well, we know. Okay, so then here's an interesting scenario. So if the lamp is in here, you're required to then get the lamp to get to the hook shot and also the fire rod. So that could be pretty ugly too.
Yeah, so a logical swamp and pod double dip, those are two dungeons you do not want to double dip.
No. And since Edium is looking for he's looking for both rods, some keys, so he still has some ways to go. On the other side, Days Cloud is missing his Cane of Samaria, which is and he's missing his Ice Rod and some keys also. So we'll see how this all boils down, but Edium will eventually get to the Fire Rod once he gets to Pod.
Yeah, and Days Cloud is eventually going to be railroaded. Also, that is why Buttersword is awesome. There goes Cold Stare in 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's one of the rare instances where Buttersword is actually really good.
Indeed, and luckily, because this is randomizer, Buttersword works against Mothula.
Right, because Buttersword does spike damage, and spikes don't do damage to Mothula. For some ungodly reason, nobody has ever said why he doesn't get damaged by the spike. But either way, they've fixed the game so that it acts as a tempered sword.
But as I was saying earlier, Days Cloud is eventually going to have to get railroaded to that cane eventually, because there's no way to beat Turtle Rock without Cane.
Nope.
Unless, of course, for some massive, by some weird stretch of the there's a lamp. You were saying that worst case scenario about Swamp? Well, there it is.
Yeah. I had to open my big mouth. Oh, there's another pod small key.
I think the game was expecting you to go to Swamp first, get a couple more keys, then go to Pod. Because, yeah, a lamp plus the Swamp plus a Pod small key, that's like, game, please?
Right, and then both Pod and Swamp or double dips in that case. If we have to go to GT for Ice Rod or keys.
Yep. So yeah, our 2 go mode items at this point are just Ice Rod and the Turtle Rock Big Key. And those could literally be anywhere except behind the Turtle Rock Big Door and on Trinex.
Yes.
And with Days Cloud's current equipment, it is well now.
And he gets silvers.
Yeah, those extra small keys coming in very handy for Days Cloud, because now Helmosaur King is a cakewalk.
Right, he just... I'm wondering if he forgot about the back of escape, which is so easy to do.
There's another pod
Yeah.
small key in Swamp Palace. And
if we remember where since the flippers were given so early, the game, when it gives you flippers early, it's like almost like a bullet is on Swamp Palace, that there's something important. And in this case, it was, because you had the lamp, you had extra keys. So, yeah, this was and it's also going to be a potential forced double dip, depending on where that ice rod and that other big key is.
Yeah, because we also got Mirror from Uncle, so yeah, you could get into Swamp Palace within like 20 minutes.
Exactly.
And answer question, Chad, Flute was in Mimic Cave. Oh god, if Meyer has the Turtle Rock big key, then Turtle Rock is a forced double dip too. Aw, this is rude. And actually,
about to see Days Cloud using his fire rod in the room with the turtles.
Chad brings up a good point. If ETM does go back for the vanilla big key chest in pod, that will give him a bow, and he will be able to full clear Palace of Darkness, because you don't need all 6 keys to full clear pod.
No.
So
and that's
this
why
could
I mentioned knowing the key logic in this dungeon is imperative.
So yeah, this could end up being a really good big break for ETM here.
Oh, he pays off Kiki the Extortionist.
I will giggle mildly if Ice Rod is on Sahasrahla, though. Since pod is our green pendant.
Well, it's your best chance to check it, though, because you're right here. Oh, ooh, there's the GT big key.
And Helmasaur has the big key of Evil's Bane, as it's said in the hint system.
So I guess that means if we ended up going to GT, we can't play the big key guessing game because we just found it, because it wouldn't necessarily be in GT.
It does also mean that we can now get all the way up to the top of GT too. So that possibility of Ice Rod or something leading to Ice Rod being all the way as far as the Moldorm 2 chest. Oh boy. That is now a very distinct possibility.
They use a small key to Skull Woods.
Yeah, now ETM did pick up that bow, so ETM will be able to, well, unfortunately, has to go to Skull Woods first to pick up the pod big key, but will be able to not have to go on a bow hunt. And at this point, Chad pointed out...
It looks like Days Cloud's going to finish Eastern.
Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. It's a potential Ice Rod location. This is the only chance you're going to get to clear this.
Well, he's not only just looking for Ice Rod, he's still looking for Samaria, too. As well as Turtle Rock Big Key.
Yeah, now ETM has the Meyer Big Key, so ETM is actually in GT... actually, both runners are... well, no, Daze needs the flute out of Mimic Cave, but ETM is in GT Go mode. He could get all the crystals. And I'm trying to think what checks are still left. There's a few checks in Ice that we skipped. There's the entirety of Meyer, which has not a lot, but it's still a decent number in Keysanity. We can't check anything else past Turtle Rock's big door. We're missing that key. We're about to see Armos Knights. Chat brings up Spike Cave, although we still... It's doable, since we have 3 bottles and more than enough hearts at this point. But I don't think it's in logic until we get Cane and Burner or Cape.
I always thought it was 1 bottle put it in, but I'll take you up on that one. I wasn't sure if it was 1 bottle that puts it in, or...
I think a bottle and...
Burner?
I think bottle and half magic, maybe?
Ooh,
I know half
the
magic.
big key to Ice Palace.
Oh boy. Well, now we can check that Ice Palace.
Really want you to go everywhere.
Yeah, the Spike Cave logic is one that I'm also really rusty on, to be perfectly honest. And that map of Hyrule Castle, by the way, is totally useless. Yeah, I'm still actually pretty shocked we have not seen either of the Castle Tower small keys at this point. In fact, for all we know, the Ice Rod's just chilling in that first chest of Castle Tower, quite literally.
You know, for Days Cloud, if he were to gamble on that and somehow figures that he didn't do back of escape, that would be a really good thing for him if Ice Rod is there and he gets Samaria.
Yeah, but that's like a 1 in 50, like some really ridiculously low chance right now.
Oh, I know, but I mean, it'd just be good. It would just happen to be good for him.
It would, absolutely.
Oh, and we have another fetch quest. We have a mushroom.
Seed, can you stop?
Well,
This... the back and forth in this seed. I'm gonna have to like get a notepad to figure this, to get the logic chain put together on this one.
you and me both, brother, man. This has not been an easy seed to keep the logic behind.
Actually, one other item that's been missing in action for a while is Pegasus Boots, although granted that really doesn't lock anything at this point, but and to answer question in chat, yes, Days Cloud does have Ether right now.
Yeah, sometimes the tracker eats the input from our tracker, so... Edie, I'm having a little trouble with these eye.
Looks like Days Cloud is now making the play to Swamp, but unlike Etium, will be able to full clear this dungeon. And there are 4 checks in the back of Swamp Palace that could have the our remaining 2 critical components. Etium picking up his 2nd crystal out of Eastern Palace. Days Cloud is actually pretty far ahead in the crystal count, has 4, and also, well, besides Kane, the means to get the other 3. Yeah, that Kane is gonna...
Etium's heading towards Misery Mine.
Yeah, I like this play for 2 reasons. Number 1, it's probably one of the most item-dense locations you're going to get for a while, considering you already dipped Swamp. Number 2, it is the last Pyramid Fairy Crystal. So this is going to be 3 plus 3 small keys plus big key. There's a lot of, there's 8 checks in Meyer plus the 2 on Pyramid Fairy. And answer question chat, Pod's big key was in Skull Woods, behind the Fire Rod locked area. which the fire rod itself was in pod. Pod basement specifically.
Yep, behind the lamp.
I should say Dark Maze pod. Long story short, this seed has been rude.
This seed has been very rude. Pedestal seeds are supposed to be fast in general, but not in this case. It's almost pretty much going to be an all dungeon seed at this point.
Yeah, this is going to be a really weird oops all dungeon seed at this rate.
And a very 3-month early April Fool's one?
Yeah. It's a shame it's not January 4th, because then we could just say, oh, we got the month and the date swapped. Yeah, luckily, pretty much the only thing that we don't have to do is kill Aga 1 at this point, because luckily, Lumberjack Ledge was trash.
Right, but that does not mean that Aga Tower does not have the ice rod.
Oh, the tower might have the ice rod, but at least we don't have to...
Oh, and there's Boots.
So, at this rate, if Bonk Rocks or King's Tomb has something, which King's Tomb has been notorious lately in the last few races I've calmed for having progression, so who knows?
Absolutely. In fact, I think the last race I calmed on, I think King's Tomb had the Titans mint, I believe.
Oh, so whoever got to... they had to mirror to get that. Oh, yes. Yikes. So yeah, you definitely needed the hookshot to get into Meyer since Boots were in there. Oh boy.
Is this the ice rod? Oh, there we go. So there is the Turtle Rock big key.
Alright, so GT suddenly went from the
ice rod?
Yeah, it's just the ice rod, so GT's suddenly gone from being in pretty good shape to on life support in a fairly short order. Although it is still looking very much like oops all dungeons. I think the only dungeon we didn't have to dip was... what big key was in Tower of Hera?
That's a good question. I don't remember. Oh, there's our ice rod. We are in go mode.
Oh, that's pretty much the Godmire for ETM, as he would, no doubt. On top of that, he got Cane of Burna too, so he's got a safety item.
Where is he going?
That is a good question. Because... oh, he doesn't have Pod's big key yet.
Oh.
Ooh, Etienne showing...
he's missing. Okay.
Etienne is showing us...
are we...
yeah, he hasn't been to Skull Woods yet.
So we have Etienne who hasn't been to Skull Woods, and Days Cloud who has not been to Back of Escape for their critical item at this point.
Right. And we'll have to go to Meyer eventually, too, so he needs the flute from Mimic Cave. Turtle Rock was a forced double dip.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it certainly was. This is just evil.
Oh, so... yeah, let me try and piece this all together as ETM lays the bacon smackdown here on Vitreous. So after Dark World access, you were expected to go to Swamp, get Pod Small Keys and Lamp. Then Hammer was free, so you can get into Pod. There was a bow in the Vanilla Big Key chest, so you could get past bow locks. But you had to go get Fire Rod in Pod Basement, go to Skull Woods to get the Pod Big Key, somewhere along the line, defeat Cold Stare to get your Ether Medallion. Meanwhile, Flippers are all the way over in Graveyard Ledge. You had to go to Mimic Cave. You had to go to Turtle Rock and go to Mimic Cave to get your flute to go to Mire. And not to mention, you also needed Hookshot from... Where was Hookshot again? Hookshot was also in Pod? Okay, so
yeah.
You had to get your Hookshot...
Because the Fire Rod was locked behind the lamp as well, and then the Hookshot was technically locked behind the Fire Rod or the lamp, because it was on the fire. It was by the torches.
Right, so yeah, it was in that part of Pod Basement. So, yeah. This seed was a total mess.
Yeah,
I think literally the only dungeon we ended up not having to dive was Tower of Hera. That was it. Because Desert at least had our first glove. Because we had to do that to get to we had to go through Desert to get the glove on Desert Ledge. And it looks like ETM is about to get silver arrows out of Hookshot Cave. Unfortunately, ETM is probably going to full clear Turtle Rock, the rest of Turtle Rock, including Laser Bridge here, looking for that Pod Big Key.
And unfortunately, will not find it.
And that's the other thing about this seed. We got all the Turtle Rock Big Keys within like half an hour. So we were able to get to all the way to Laser Bridge real fast if it weren't for that Fire Rod stipulation.
And the big key being in Mire.
And that. You could almost call that a God Mire, all things considering.
Yeah, you had said that before. I'm wondering why... Oh, I'm wondering if Days God's gonna complete Desert now.
He's got to know the Kane's not in GT.
Yeah, he's probably thinking that the... well, there's our first Castle Tower key.
Luckily, that is now irrelevant.
Yeah, so now anything in Castle Tower is totally and utterly dead.
Yeah, they wouldn't even go in there if it had a shirt.
No, not at this point, no. I'm thinking Days Cloud is probably thinking that it's all dungeons. He's gonna clear the rest of the crystal dungeons, and then he's probably betting that the Ice Rod is gonna be in GT. I think that's his thought process, but I'm not sure. I'm trying not to speculate on what he's thinking.
It might also be that this is the last... He's probably going to combo this with Mire.
That would actually be a good thing if he was able to do that, but he didn't. Did he bring a portal over? I didn't catch it. I think he went in the vanilla
don't
way.
think so. No, he used the book to get in.
He went in the vanilla way. Because he doesn't have the flute. He can't beat Mire.
That's right. And answer question in chat, both Boots and Ice Rod and TR Big Keys were all in Misery Mire. So yeah, Mire was uncharacteristically loaded today.
Yes. And looking at what Days Cloud is doing, he's gonna clear all the crystal dungeons if he hasn't already. Because Mire is the last one. So he's probably gonna go TR next and see what he wants to do from there. can't even get into TR. I think he's got to be going the back of escape. I think that's all he has left.
I think so. Because yeah, Kane, he can't get into Meyer. He's got to get Kane to go through Turtle Rock. That's not the way to the back.
No. Did he do bunk? Well, he doesn't have boots, so I'm trying to think what else he could be looking for here.
Yeah, he's cleared Skull Woods. He's cleared Thieves Town. He's done Smith Chain. I guess except possibly Purple Chest.
Maybe he's going back to do Purple Chest.
Etia, meanwhile, is going through Laser Bridge. Looks like the only thing on Laser Bridge was 2 hard pieces, a big 20 and 50 rupees. And yeah, Dazed Cloud is picking up the purple chest.
Yeah, he must have forgotten. Alright, so EDM taking on Trinex.
Fairly solid 1 cycle there.
Yeah, much easier with butter, sort of, obviously. Yeah, I have to say that Dazed Cloud I don't know. He might be he's going back to Ice Palace.
He's going to check the chests in the basement.
Yeah.
And the big chest.
Yep. He's looking for that. He's looking for that Key of Samaria. And he's gonna be kind of like giving a couple of bombs to that chest when he finds it in the back of Escape.
Yeah, he's had some pretty explosive feedback lately for those for the inconvenience of some of these checks. If the bottle vendor was anything to go by.
And EDM is looking for the Pod Big Key, which is in Small Palace.
Well, the Pod Big Key was in Skull Woods.
I'm sorry, Skull Woods.
Yeah, unfortunately, whatever was in the Behera basement was not important, but given that, and this is pretty common, especially in Keysanity, when you factor in so many extra items, you're only 1 away from go mode, and it could literally be anywhere, especially the places you've orphaned.
Yeah, and looking back on everything with the seed and what it wanted you to do, this is just, it turned into an all dungeon seed by accident, as you had mentioned much earlier. Because you're right, the only dungeon you did not have to do was Hera. Other than that, you had to do there was something in every single dungeon, some double.
I think the only exception may have been Eastern Palace, unless it had a key.
I don't remember if it had a key or not, but either. So we now know what both of our runners on this restream need to do to finish this seed. EDM must go back and do Skull Woods to get his key to then go to Pod, and Dazed Cloud must go to back of Escape and get his key in Samaria, which will get him back on track.
And after getting Kane of Samaria, must double dip TR after, and yep, there's a revenge bomb for the Ice Palace big chest. He must go to Mimic Cave to get the Meyer Big, not the Meyer Big Key, the flute. To go back to Meyer to get the Ice Rod, boots, well, not necessarily boots, but Ice Rod and TR Big Key. Looks like Evium is going for Pyramid Fairy.
Yes.
And unfortunately, because of how out of the way Skull Woods is for ETM, it could be a while before he goes back there.
Looks like he did not get the bomb where he wanted to on his first attempt.
Yeah, he tried to do a bomb dupe, but looks like he mistimed it.
Well, Days Cloud is going to finish Pod. So, because he has the big key now. Still looking for Kane and Samaria.
I'm kind of curious to know what Pyramid Fairy has after all this time.
There's arrows and herpes.
Not even a male upgrade at this point. We know where one of them is. It's
on the library.
That's right.
Medium, where are you going? Oh no. Oh, he's going into Agate Tower. Ugh. He's gonna check the two chests in here.
Yeah, he has that first Castle Tower small key. Luckily, he's got Silver Arrow's Lamp and Tempered Sword, so the first part of this climb really isn't that bad.
No.
Especially after that health refill.
And Days Cloud is just thinking about where he wants to go next.
Castle Tower was just it was a lovely Castle Tower. Oh yeah, chat's reminding me the male upgrade was on the Desert Torch.
Right. And it was on the torch. I just didn't remember if it was the library or the Desert Torch. Thank you, chat. Definitely keeping us on our toes.
And especially with the whole Keysanity stuff, chat and our tracker has been doing fantastic work tonight, keeping us all up to date, keeping the audience up to date.
Alright, so just another piece of hurt. In King's Tomb. And Days Cloud finally looks like he's headed for the back of his cave. Oh no! Wait, where's he going now? Did he never do escape in general?
He might. I think he did. No, he was the first runner to do escape.
Oh yeah, so
he's doing Castle Tower
to
first.
Agate Tower, looking for the Kingdom Samaria also.
And is just gonna get those 2 heart pieces.
Yeah, he's gonna be very sad.
Bonk Rocks, by the way, just had our 4th bottle, which also had a B-Torp.
These runners have done such a great job with this. So if you guys have some extra time on your hand, definitely give these guys a follow. They have put on an amazing show this evening. this has not been an easy seed to keep track of. And they're doing it while racing with all that other pressure too. So now I think Days Cloud is going to go to the back of escape. I don't think he has anything left that he could do.
Yep, there he goes.
Exactly where he's going to head. And he's going to find his Canis Samaria.
Cue Extreme Rage Bomb Frustration in 3, 2, 1.
Well, now he's in better shape now, at least. Because now he can get himself back on track. Go to Turtle Rock, get his flute, go back to Meyer, get all the keys he needs, and then finally... Because now he'll end up in go mode once he's done.
Yeah, but this, it's still a huge series of unfortunate events, regardless.
Yeah, exactly. But now Days Cloud will head up to Turtle Rock, get his flute. I'm sure he's going to go all the way. No, he's going to get his flute, realize, and then go to Meyer. He'll find all the big keys that he needs, and then go back to Turtle Rock to finish it, and then take his victory lap towards the pedestal.
Yeah, and although there is still quite a considerable amount of time before that the whole process is
yeah, there's definitely more time, but that's what my guess is his routing is going to be. Because now he'll get his flute. I don't know if he'll go right over to Meyer, but since he won't have the big key nor the ice rod, he's kind of going to have to. He's probably going to know that that's where it is, because that's all he has left.
Yeah, he might detour back to Castle Tower, because the small key was also in the Crystal Roller room, but even still.
I highly doubt he's going back to Castle Tower a second time. But
yeah, no one wants to do Castle Tower even one time, let alone two.
Right, exactly. I've never commented, but I have seen Keysanity where you've had to double dip Castle Tower.
Yikes. I've seen a Keysanity seed where both runners skipped the second chest in Castle Tower. It was an all dungeons Keysanity. They skipped the second chest in Castle Tower, and it had silvers.
Ooh.
So they both had to do a silverless Ganon. And it was a close race, too. It was down to just like a minute or two.
Edium, where are you headed next? He's fluting to 3.
This is looking good.
Skullwoods. Yep, Skullwoods. I would guess. Since he already cleared out Village of Outcast.
To answer the question of chat, Cane of Burna is, I believe it's in Turtle Rock somewhere. Oh. Or it might have been in Misery Myers chat's point now.
I believe that was one of the items in Misery Mire, but I don't quote me on that. So now, looks like EDM is entering the back of Skull Woods, and should get his big key.
And there he goes, immediately gonna nope right on out of Skull Woods and head straight to Pod to finish the job.
So now at the 1 hour, 55 minute, and 33 second mark, he has entered Pedestal Go mode to finish off Pod. And it'll be a very quick finish. Silvers, 17 smacks to the head on Helmosaur, and 1 silver arrow to the face.
1 for every hard container EDM has.
Yep. Meanwhile, Daze Cloud is in Turtle Rock. And is about to get his flute, which is in Mimic Cave, if I remember correct.
Yep, it's in Mimic Cave, and then so we'll begin the process, the arduous process of double dipping Turtle Rock.
Yeah, it's never a good feeling to have to double dip Turtle Rock. It just doesn't feel good. But there was really no way around it, unfortunately.
Not this time. Oh, I cannot wait for the interview for this one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. And he's gotta know.
Yep.
He's gotta know he's gonna go to Meyer.
I imagine Daze Cloud bombs the pedestal before he pulls it at this rate. Or, okay, that works too.
Yeah. I was gonna say he could be using his arrows for something else too. And he did.
I mean, he's got 30. And they're silvers, so I don't think arrow conservation is an issue at this point.
Alright, so EDM enters his Helmosaur King fight. As I said, 17 smacks to the face, and then 1 silver arrow to the face, to the eye crystal. And then he can go do his victory lap to the pedestal.
Now it is Ether from Meyer. Do we get a bird toss?
Oh, I hope so. Oh, no,
Never mind.
Oh, he's checking Meyer shit first. Alright, so now Edium can take his lap to the pedestal, and then we will get your GG's in chat for him in just a moment. He's going to take his victory lap from the flute. Here we go. All right, folks, get your GG's in chat for Edium. Who finishes first on our restream with an official TV time of 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 51 seconds. Good for second place overall. Nimbad finished first with an ETA of 1 hour, 38 minutes, and 26 seconds. GG's to all.
Wow, and that split just goes to show. And we have ETM with us in the booth. GG, ETM.
Yeah, GG's, buddy. GG's.
Oh boy. Where do we start?
That was quite a scene.
Yeah, when we put the logic together, there were mandatory double dips of swamp, pod, and Turtle Rock.
What was in the back of Swamp that you needed?
Or sorry, you had to go to swamp to get the lamp.
Right. Okay, yeah. And then ended up double dipping Swamp. I guess you probably could have avoided Swamp. It had a couple of pod small keys, which you logically needed, but might have been able to get away without. But yeah, wow, that was. I don't know how I managed to sub 2, but I did.
Yeah, and can we talk about, can we just talk about Meyer for a minute here?
It was pretty loaded.
And and Days Cloud is just got boots and is that is going to be one of several frustration quakes you will be seeing in the next 5 minutes.
He's gonna find all of his items here.
Long story short, Days Cloud only just now picked up the Canis Samaria about 20 minutes ago in back of escape.
Oof.
Yeah, he waited till the absolute last minute to get there, unfortunately for him.
Yeah, he says in chat, mistakes were made. Yeah, I don't know what to say. It's just a long, tedious seed. It was definitely fun for parts of it. The hunt for that pod break key was just, that was too long.
And Extreme Rage number 2 from Days Cloud.
And here comes number 3. Sorry. Number 3 is in the next room with the ice rod.
We gotta be honest, we were really starting to think something was going to be in GT at this rate.
I was thinking that like an hour in, because I started getting all these GT small keys, and no one was finished. And I was getting lots of progression for the crystal dungeons, and I still had a lot of items left for the pendants. So yeah, I was really starting to think that this might be a GT required seed, and it almost was. I was not far from getting all 7 crystals.
Oh no. Days Cloud missed the ice rod. Oh, he's going back.
Oh, he's scaring you. You're scaring me.
He scared me.
Scaring the chat. Oh my goodness, that puts Days Cloud in go mode at 2:03:45.
So EDM, other than all the forced double dips and stuff, was there anything about your routing that you didn't like or that you would have changed? Knowing, I mean, obviously you don't know where things are, but if there was anything you were to change, what would it be?
I was pretty happy with my routing overall, honestly. I don't know if you remember way back when I went to Desert and I only had 2 bombs. I was struggling to kill those. I should have bought bombs before that. That would have been nice.
Yeah, you got lucky. I think that 4 bomb was the stun prize, right?
No. Because you can't stun those enemies. That was just a random 4 bomb drop that bailed me out.
Okay. Because I noticed you got a 4 bomb drop earlier from a Buzz Blob as well. Or something along that line when you were headed to Ice Rod Cave.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dark World access was actually pretty painless this time around. Just an early trip to Desert was all you needed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was overall like, I don't think I'd change any major things. Just there may be some like minor mistakes here and there. I mean, I feel pretty good about overall the way I read it.
Yeah, we're still just baffled at the insanity of having to go all the way through Mire to get all three, well, not necessarily boots, but like the last go mode items all in one dungeon. It's not often you see it that, even in a Keysanity seed, especially from Mire.
Well, it wasn't even go mode for me. I still had to get that stupid pod small or big key.
True. Oh boy.
I think the only places I had left were Lanmo and the Ice Pal's big chest. Outside of GT. I think I full cleared everything else.
Yeah, that's about it. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think you pretty much was pretty thorough.
Well, it was almost a all dungeon seed without being an all dungeon seed.
And the infamous Oops All Dungeons. Now available at your local cereal aisle. Alright, Days Cloud gonna get a minor health refill here from the ferry.
As he will head to his Trinex fight and then take his victory lap to the pedestal.
Oh yeah, E-Team, what did you think about that hype cave this time around?
That was one of the hypest caves I've seen in a while, yeah.
Yeah, because
It
two
was,
swords,
surprising.
Titan's mitts. I think there was a key in there.
Down goes Trinex or Days Cloud. And now we'll take his victory lap to the pedestal.
So as this run begins to wind down, we would like to remind everybody to please give our two runners a follow for their amazing performance tonight. Because boy, was that quite a show.
Yeah, and it was not an easy seed to keep all the crazy logic that this seed wanted you to do. So absolutely give all of our runners, our trackers, everybody involved in this wonderful game we call Into the Past Randomizer. As Days Cloud pulls the pedestal, get your GTs in chat. He finishes the seed in second place on our restream and fourth overall. Plasma Kappa with a finish time of 2 hours and 2 minutes and 12 seconds. And since he did not done, I don't know what his official time would be.
Days Cloud's time is 2:09:30.
209:30. Well, he has now joined us in the booth. GG's Days.
GG's.
GG.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks, EDM. Great seed you pulled there, buddy.
Oh boy.
I always roll good seeds.
I messed that up in the worst possible way. like halfway through there, I'm kind of like, oh, you know what? I haven't done the back of a
This
escape.
class time is 12:09.
Okay, I'll get to that in a minute. No big deal. That's nothing to worry about.
Little did you know that they had your progression there.
Well, I hope everybody else enjoyed seeing everything else in the game outside of GT.
Yeah, we were starting to think for a really long time, up until E-Team got to Meyer, that GT was going to end up being where that ice rod was hiding.
Yeah, that's what I was. That's pretty much what I assumed. The moment I saw the that Turtle Rock was a pendant, I just basically went, oh, okay, we're in GT. All right, so I just started, doing all of the dungeons and such, and then I just kind of hit the wall there for a minute and went, okay, wait a minute, I'm still missing 3 incredibly important things, and I haven't found them yet. And then I'm looking at all of these single locations, and just in my head, I completely blanked on the back of Escape, that I just left that completely alone, or else I'd have been done, I don't know, 20-30 minutes ago. Mistakes were made.
Well, to be fair, the seed wasn't helping either, especially, I mean, you had to know what was going on after seeing Flute and Mimic Cave.
Oh, yeah, I assumed that was GT. I just assumed that was my GT axis, so I almost dashed right by the ice rod there. I'm just like, do, and then I was like, ran down the stairs and went, wait a second. I should probably go get that.
Yeah, I was a little worried about you when you went down. I was like, uh-oh, he's missing the ice rod. That could be really bad.
I was like, I went down there. I'm going like, hold on, just go get that chest. It's probably nothing. And then I picked it up, and I was just like, oh, I guess I'm in go mode. All right, I'm done in 3 minutes now. So let's go fast.
We were legit surprised you did not rage quake that chest.
Oh, I at some point when I kind of was like memeing a bit and just kind of having fun with this after a point, because it just got silly. So I just decided, you know what, we're just gonna kind of goof around a little bit, especially when it just got to the point where I'm just like looking for my progression, and I'm not finding it there. And I'm not finding it there, I'm not finding it there, and I'm not finding it there. And at some point, I'm just like, all right, I imagine being kind of a goober there might make chat laugh at least.
Oh, believe me, it worked.
All right, good. I might give this a watch back then, just for the... I kind of want to see chat screaming at me half the time. Go check the back of Escape, you numpty!
And I've had all dungeon Keysanity seeds that were better than this one.
Oh yeah,
like this
definitely.
Was just blah.
Well,
yeah, I ended up having pod big for my go mode, because I saved pod till quite late, so I didn't have the fire rod, so Skull Woods was pretty isolated there.
I got it pretty early just because I was assuming that we were basically all dungeons, so I ended up going to Skull Woods probably at a very strange time for people watching, but I was just 100% thinking we were going to GT, and figuring if I found the stuff before then, fantastic, and if I don't, well then, okay. Anyway.
Well, at least these crystals to get into GT was not randomized, because then you could have had like 3 crystals to get in there.
Oh
Yeah.
God, imagine if that was randomized.
I'm glad it wasn't.
Yeah, for our sake, I'm glad it wasn't randomized, especially with Keysanity. It makes it hard enough to keep everything in logic. Nonetheless, you guys who have to run it while racing at the same time.
Yeah. Well, I got to get running, guys. So thank you for the restream there. Thank you to the trackers. Thank you to the commentators. Thank you to everybody. Sorry I couldn't have put on like an actually like good execution show tonight, and instead put on just a Mimi dingus show. But still fun. GG, Edim.
Yeah, GG's.
Yeah, GG's to both of you.
Well, with that, is there anything else, ETM, you want to say about this before we close off?
No, I mean, I pretty much have the same sentiments as Dave Squad. Just thanks for volunteering and making this stream great.
And thank you, and once again, shout outs to Days Cloud for both of you putting on an awesome show tonight. With that said, if you folks are looking for more Link to the Past rando action right now on Channel 2, Speed Gaming Channel 2, we are still in the middle of our Super Metroid Zelda 3 Combo Randomizer community race. So if you're looking for more rando action, definitely head on over there. Other than that, that's pretty much all we have for you on Speed Gaming tonight. So on behalf of our runners, our tracker MathGirl718, my co-commentator Nitro 6003, and all of us here at Speed Gaming, we wish you a good night, and we will see you next time.
Have a good night.